On Friday morning, it suddenly became clear to me that the sermon I had been working on all week was not the sermon that I was supposed to give to you today. It became clear that the reasons the words, I was having trouble finding words, I was having trouble finding images, I couldn't get it done. And it became clear that the reason thoughts wouldn't connect, the reason words wouldn't come is because God was calling me to say something different to you today. And my heart ached. And God said, that's it. That's what you need to say. And so mentally I started to write this sermon. Started to think about it and say, really, God, are you sure? Because I had this sermon that I've been working really hard on. And God said, maybe I'll use that another time. But that's not what you need to say today. The facts are these. 9 out of 10 gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered students will experience harassment and bullying in school. 3/5 of them feel unsafe at school because of their sexual orientation. And 1/3 will skip at least one day of school this month for fear of their safety. Lesbian, gay, and bisexual students are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide. Each year, 1 in 4 of these students will attempt to kill themselves. And 1 in 7 will make an attempt so serious that it will require medical intervention. Gay, lesbian, and bisexual students are 190% more likely to use alcohol and drugs. And while they only make up between 3 and 5% of the population, they make up between 20 and 40% of the homeless population. And the statistics are even more dire for our transgender and genderqueer children. In the past 3 weeks, we've seen the statistics come alive. Come alive in the death of young people. By many, these have been dubbed not suicides, but bullycides. There were 7 young men in particular, 7 who were some openly gay, some just presumed to be gay. One even had a girlfriend. Raymond Chase, 19 years old, at Johnson & Wales University in Rhode Island. Cody Barker, 17 years old in Wisconsin. Seth Walsh, 13 years old in California. Asher Brown, 13 years old in Texas. Billy Lucas, 15 years old, Indiana. Caleb Nolt, 14 years old, Indiana. And Tyler Clementi, 18 years old, student at Rutgers University in New Jersey. Tyler grew up in Ridgewood, New Jersey, which is a town 15 minutes from where I grew up. Ridgewood was a town that we would go to on Friday nights and hang out in the park. Tyler Clementi grew up 15 minutes from where I grew up. In addition to these 7, 2 other teens have made the national news. Felix Sacco, 17, of Massachusetts, and Harrison Chase Brown, 15, of Colorado. They also ended their lives, and while the newspapers have not been explicitly clear about why, we know that 7 ended their lives because of bullying and harassment, because they were gay or presumed to be gay. But the truth is that this tragic loss of young life is not unique to the present age. This isn't new news. We could have and perhaps should have had this conversation in April 2009, when 2 young men, Yahim Herrera of Georgia and Carl Walker Hoover of Massachusetts, ended their lives. Both boys were aged 11. And you might ask why. You might ask, why would a child of 19 or 18 or 15 or 13 or 11 kill themselves? Every situation is unique. Again, we know the statistics. 9 out of 10 are harassed and bullied for perceived sexual orientation. You might say, well, I was picked on as a kid, I made it. I'm here. And trying to make sense of these losses, I thought about my own time as a teenager. And I remember adults telling me constantly, you are in high school. This is the best time of your life. This is great. This is the best. High school is going to be the best time of your life. And I remember sitting there thinking, wow, the rest of my life is going to suck. You cannot tell me that this is as good as it gets. For lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender youth, the ones who are lonely and suffering and hurting, the ones who are bullied and beat up, the ones who are called faggot and dyke and threatened as a way to keep them silent, the ones kicked out of their homes for coming out, the ones who remain terrified and in the closet. For these youth, the idea that this is as good as it gets is horrifying, is terrifying. Why would that child want to go on living in this world of hate and fear? And I think of Habakkuk's lament to God, but I hear it a new way this morning. I hear, O parents, O teachers, O school officials, O adults, O peers, how long shall the pained and hurting youth of our schools cry for help and you will not listen? How long shall the cry violence rise up? Violence to bodies, violence to souls, violence to self-esteem, violence to spirit, violence to the future. How long and you will not save? Why do you make me see wrongdoing? Why do you make me witness to trouble? It's too big and too great for me to deal with on my own. Destruction and violence and murder and suicide and anguish and hurt and loneliness and desperation and sorrow are before me. Strife and contention rise. The law becomes slack. Justice never prevails. The wicked surround the righteous, and judgment comes forth perverted. The dead are blamed for their very existence. God's children are denied their heritage, and no one has the courage to say, this is wrong and we must fix it. No one has the courage for fear of what might happen at the next school board meeting, the next PTA group, the next church supper, the next election.